What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily Dose. I don't know why my co-host has a big-ass smirk on his face because he almost just threw me off there.
I just read the bottom thing. I mean, the title of this.
Welcome back. I am your host, Dylan Davis. You can follow me on Twitter at DylanJD98. You can follow my co-host, Matt McGinty, on Twitter at Matt_McGinty. We are brought to you by the Painted Lines Network, so if you are new to the channel, please check the Painted Lines out on Twitter at the Painted Lines, or go subscribe to their YouTube page and like this video. The Painted Lines has a new sponsor in XL Media, so here is a word from our sponsor.
Hey, what's up, guys? March Madness is here. The NBA and NHL are both in full swing. Baseball opening day is coming up, while we here at the Painted Lines are devoted to bringing you top-notch content from all the major sports. We are excited to also now give you the opportunity to cash in on all that content and knowledge. If you follow the link below, you will have the opportunity to sign up with BetRivers, an online sportsbook, and get an instant new user deposit match of up to $250. That's free money that you can use and try to turn into more free money. Let's go. Don't sit there and waste all that money. Turn every basket into an otherwise meaningless Cavs-Timberwolves matchup in on a random Wednesday in March. That makes it all the more exciting. For betting tips and advice, be sure to check out written content from our top prognosticator, Money Max, on our website at thepaintedlines.com, or check out the Tough Cover podcast right here on the Painted Lines YouTube channel. You've seen the commercials all over TV and radio, but now is the time. Sign up today with BetRivers using the link below and start cashing in on your love for sports. Using the link below will automatically inform BetRivers that TPL sent you, and you'll get that new user deposit match of up to $250. Don't miss out on this opportunity for some free money, baby.
There you go. A word from our sponsors at XL Media and BetRivers. Guys, up to $250 match there if you are a first-time deposit with BetRivers. So go check that out, and the link is attached below. Crash says, yo, what is going on? Thank you for tuning in to us. And as always, the show is a ton more fun when you guys comment with us, get myself and get riled up, debate with us, ask us questions. So please comment as much as you guys want to today. And Gint's tweet summed it up perfectly. It is trade deadline eve. So today's show is going to be, as it has been recently, heavy Sixers based. The Sixers take down the Warriors last night, 108-98. So we'll be talking a little bit about that game, our takeaways, and stuff like that. And more trade deadline targets, trade deadline rumors, names that are being floated around. Kevin says, go Nova, V's up. Kevin, they take on Baylor on Saturday in the Sweet 16 at 5:15. So hopefully yesterday we're supposed to get some more NCAA first weekend talk. Hopefully we get to that today. No distractions. Let's try to get through a full hour as planned. But first, let's start with last night's game because that's fresh in my mind. Like I said, the Sixers take down the Golden State Warriors. The Steph Curry-less Golden State Warriors, 108-98. However, it wasn't pretty. It started very pretty. The Sixers built up a 24-point lead, had a healthy lead at halftime, but then ended up blowing that 24-point lead, trailed by 5, 6, 7 points for a decent amount of the third quarter, where they allowed Golden State to outscore them 40-21. And in the moment, dude, I'm ripping my hair out up at midnight watching this game. Like, the fact that you were allowing, the Golden State was shooting ridiculous in the third quarter. Don't get me wrong. They hit like 7 of 8 or 8 of 9 from 3. They weren't missing, but the defense was all over the place. Too many open looks for Golden State. The fact that you allowed Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins and Mannion and whoever else to drop 40 on you in a quarter was kind of absurd to me. But then the Sixers D and Doc Rivers' system followed that up in the fourth quarter with only allowing 13 fourth quarter points to Golden State, whereas the Sixers take home a 10-point win and continue to win without the MVP of the league. So again, what was almost a really bad loss, ugly loss, turned into still a bad win, but kind of a character-driven win. Talk to me a little bit last night. How anxious were you in that third quarter? What was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, Sorry. I mean, absolutely. You lose the third quarter 40-21, going in the fourth quarter. I don't want to say I thought we were going to lose, but I had some doubts for sure. And then, like you said, just a total heel turn in the fourth quarter, let up 13 points, and it looked like what it did in the first quarter, essentially. The first quarter, you jumped out to a 35 to 17-point lead, built an 18-point lead in one quarter. And, I mean, that's predicated to my first takeaway, which is the starters. The starters last night did everything they could, essentially. All of them in a over plus 15 besides Furkan Korkmaz. But the starters did everything you could ask for. Ben, Tobias, even Tony Bradley. Tony Bradley, 8 for 8 from the field, 11 rebounds. I mean, you're not going to get much more out of him, huh? So.
No, Tony Bradley was a welcomed sight last night, and we've been seeing that. I just don't, how some fans can be in the city and they get attached and they love guys like that. And, it's nice when he does it against the Bulls. It's cool when he does it against Golden State, and obviously it helps to get a win. And he did attribute to that win last night. So all credit in the world to him. But don't get it twisted of who Tony Bradley is, if he can contribute at all in the playoffs or be a bat. No, miss me with all that. But thank you, TB11. Rob Lange here at TPL is the conductor of that train. He asked if I want to join, and I think he's going to be riding solo on that one for a while. But yeah, like you said, dude, the biggest takeaway, the biggest positive takeaway last night was, who stepped up in place of Joel and Seth to get a road win last night on the West Coast. Tobias Harris, 25, 13, and 4. He had a double-double at halftime. Ben Simmons, 22, 8, and 4. He struggled from the line in the middle of this game, but he ended up 8 of 14 from the line. Could have been better, could have been worse. So Ben, overall, a very good game. Had a couple steals that tipped that deflection at half court in the first half where he went and reverse jammed, and then to end the game, he comes from behind Andrew Wiggins, deflects the ball off his knee. It's game over. Sixers win. You mentioned Tony Bradley. Those were the three big names. Shake Milton provided 13 points off the bench, but it was on 5 of 14 shooting. So it's just, consistently inconsistent is this bench. And that's my negative takeaway from this game. And it'll kind of, while we'll continue to talk a little bit about this game, because there's just an ugly basketball game in its own, right? But this will kind of transition a little bit into trade deadline eve and the big discussion. And, what do the Sixers need to do? So my question to everyone watching today is, are you okay if the Sixers stand pat? If they don't make any moves, are you comfortable with that? There's a lot of people that think they're building chemistry. They look really good without Joel. We're going to get Joel and Seth back. We're still in first place, yada, yada. And everyone that's been a consistent viewer of this show knows my stance on this team. I'm having a ton of fun. I think this team can compete as is. However, in my opinion, Daryl Morey needs to be on the phones making a move by 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And to get back to that bench in last night's performance, Shake 13 on 11 of 14 shooting. Dwight had 13 rebounds in limited run, but he only had 2 points. He was kind of a mess last night. T. Steibel gave you 0. Maxey got a little bit of run. What did Maxey have? 5 points. I think he hit it. He hit a big 3 when the Sixers were struggling offensively. And then the last guy to come off that bench, Mike Scott, 11 minutes, 0.0 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 of 3 from the field. Can't play a lick of defense. Inconsistently inconsistent is this bench. And it's what we talked about on Monday with Scotty when the question was kind of thrown around, is this bench okay? And I think some of it, while I was very enthused and impressed with them, and every W without Embiid's a big W, it's a little bit of fool's gold, I thought. And you see that, and just when you think, and I'm not coming at Shake, I'm really not trying to, but when you see 28 points followed by 20 or 22 in wins, and now against the Golden State Warriors, you're struggling to get a win. Why? Because outside of Ben and Tobias, no one else offensively can do anything. And we saw that for that stretch in the third quarter where, look, the starters are the ones that gave up the lead to start the third quarter. However, late in the third quarter, the bench provided nothing offensively. The bench is the unit that in the second, late in the first and early in the second quarter, that kind of let a 22-point lead dwindle to a 13-point lead in about 2 minutes. And that's the Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry, dude. That's my issue, okay? So it would be one thing if they struggled, against like they did against the Bucks. It'd be another if they struggled against the Clippers or the Nuggets coming up. The fact that they did this against Golden State and just the stagnant offense, and some of it's gotta be credited to Doc. And look, they came away with the win, so he's clearly still doing it right. But just the lineup of Mike Scott, Dwight Howard, Matisse Thybulle, Shake Milton, and then name player 5, whether it's Ben, who, him and Dwight aren't good together. So there's no one else. You're relying on Shake to go out and run your offense and be your only scoring option. That can't happen in the postseason. I'm sorry. So again, going off of that takeaway, what are your thoughts on this bench unit last night? Touch on last night, and then tell me your thoughts on my question to everybody. Are you comfortable if they don't make a move?
I mean, there's not much to say about the bench unit last night besides the fact that they were miserable. What were they combined? It was like 2 of 14 before Shake, so 7 of 28 from the field, 25% from the field from your bench. That's never going to get the job done as a second unit. I mean, if you looked at our second unit numbers, you probably would have thought we lost the game by 15. So, I mean, that speaks volume in terms of what your starters did. But to your point of if you have to make a move, I want to say you highly should. I don't think if you don't, you're totally out of the picture of competing for what you want to compete in, which is to win a championship essentially. But I'm on board with absolutely making a move. Now, do I think it needs to come tomorrow? No. It can be a buyout player, especially with some of the names you're seeing. But I would love to make the move now so we can start to figure this stuff out. You know what I mean? Remember when we made the move, we got Bellinelli, we got Ersan. I mean, that team, I feel like never got to really figure it out with those guys in the second.
Right.
Because it all happened so fast. So I think you definitely want to make that move quicker, in my opinion. But will they make a move tomorrow?
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope it's not a small one either. I would love to see a crazy name come in here. Like one of the names that we're all talking about. So
before we get to those names, because we will. So before I get to these 3 comments that I want to touch on, talking about that question, I just want to wrap up last night's win against Golden State. So while it was almost a really bad, ugly loss, they end up winning the game. Again, any win without Joel Embiid and without Seth Curry is a good win for this team. They continue to stay afloat in first place. They improved to 31-13. So to your point, I mean, how can you look at this team without the MVP and one of maybe their best shooter in the starting 5 and say, well, they can't compete. They're still winning. Okay. But I'm on board with you. So now well,
hold on real quick. Also, it's really speaking volumes to Tobias Harris. I mean, everything that went wrong last night, literally everything. Tie game 96-96. He put up a shot that I don't know how many players on planet Earth could have made that shot. He went to his left hand, put up a
which one? Over Draymond? Where he was kind of behind
the floater almost behind the court. I was
I thought he was behind the glass.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that was the definition of a professional scorer. So what Tobias and Ben are doing to save this, I shouldn't say save the season
but to stay afloat.
Yeah, to keep us at the number 1 seed, keep us in a position to get a home court playoff series is just unbelievable.
Right. So I see all you guys down here. What is going on? Thank you guys so much for joining. My question of the day today for everyone is with the trade deadline quickly approaching in less than 24 hours, and after seeing this bench struggle against Golden State last night and how inconsistent they've been all year, are you comfortable going into the postseason with this bench if they stand pat, or do the Sixers need to make a move here by tomorrow? Ginn says it doesn't necessarily have to be tomorrow, but something needs to give by the deadline. So these are 3 comments I wanted to get to. Mark says we have 7 expiring contracts and draft picks, need to at least make one small move. Mike says we're not winning as is, too inconsistent. Trade for George Hill and Larry Nance Jr. George Hill, his name kind of resurfaced. Larry Nance I heard for a quick second, and that's kind of gone away. I don't know what it would take to get Larry Nance. Deshaun, this is one of the ones I liked. If we we get to the conference finals. If we twist for a bigger piece, the loss of depth could swing between championship finals or conference second round, in my opinion. And that's very interesting because he's looking at it, does Kyle, if he's alluding to a Kyle Lowry move where you give up Danny Green and some other guys, that could get you over the hump, or maybe, some people are right and the loss of Danny Green in the bench is too much. And Sean, this is my favorite comment. I completely agree. And it's, kind of goes along with all the names that are being attached to the Sixers right now. A secondary playmaker, point guard, or a combo guard is kind of what we need. If we can grab one player like that, give up a second to fill that need. It's going to take more than a second with the guys out there. But, so just the names out there: Kyle Lowry, Lonzo Ball, George Hill. Malcolm Brogdon's being shopped with the Pacers. Victor Oladipo could be shopped. That's a long shot, in my opinion. So those are 5 combo guard, point guard names that can create, that can spread the floor, shoot from the outside, but are also secondary ball handlers and come off the bench and run a unit. So again, what do you think? Is that like where you think the Sixers will go if they make a move? Because I remember before it's kind of gone from they need a stretch big to they need a backup point guard or a combo guard.
I'm on the stretch big train for number one. I think a lot of the second unit problems get fixed if you get a stretch big. Because we were talking before the show, talking about how, Ben's probably going to log almost 38 minutes in a playoff game.
Sure,
maybe a little bit more. Honestly,
probably
could be a little bit less also. But with the second unit, you get to play 5 out with Ben, and it's. But here's the thing with that. You got to look at how many guys realistically do you think we're going to play in the playoffs?
Well, we've talked about this a number of times, and normally you think 8, but I could see Doc running 9 probably.
So if we sign Bielitsa, who's to say he even plays in the playoffs?
Well,
that was my thing with Wayne Ellington. I like Wayne Ellington. Wayne Ellington brings you shooting off the bench, obviously, but right now, do you think Wayne Ellington would play over Korkmaz?
I don't know.
And how many guys are you going to bring off the bench?
Dude, I'm telling you this right now. Korkmaz has found his way off of my needs to get out of the rotation. Mike Scott is my primary needs to get out, and then they need just another guard. They just need a guy that can get his own shot or can shoot from the. Shake Milton is literally the only. It's like handing the ball to Shake and see what happens in that bench unit. That's a recipe for freaking disaster in the postseason. And I just want to throw this to you too. He's worried about ruining chemistry. Dude, I'm sorry. I don't care about the chemistry with Mike. Something has to give here. Mike Scott, and that's not to say I want to see Furkan a lot on the floor in the playoffs, but especially he can't be on the floor with Mike Scott. Dwight, is an interesting person because I like Dwight a lot. But I've said this to you a couple weeks ago. He could find himself out on, out of the rotation in certain circumstances, depending who the other. Yes, he could. He definitely could.
There's no shot.
How?
Unless you bring somebody in, there's no chance.
If they have to go small ball 5, yeah, there will be a chance.
They're not going to go small ball 5. This team's predicated around playing off the pick and roll in the second unit, and Dwight Howard sits the.
But your pick and roll is Dwight Howard and Ben Simmons when they run that second unit.
Yeah, well, not it doesn't have to be. Ben can play in the dunker spot in a pick and roll.
That's my issue right there. Ben and Dwight together on the floor is a recipe for disaster. It doesn't work. Tiago said in our chat earlier, in duos that have played over 60 minutes together, Dwight and Ben are 770 and 722nd in the NBA in net rating or whatever together.
I understand that, but you also need to predicate what's around them. You can't play Matisse Thybulle on that unit.
But he's going to. That's why I need more in here.
You need to make adjustments. If you can't make a move and you can't get somebody, you just keep doing something that's not working?
I don't think he'll switch it. I don't think he'll switch it late. I don't think he'll switch it when it gets to the playoff time.
You're gonna things happen. Like changes are made in the playoffs. You see it all the time. Like
They need to be, yeah.
Golden State literally never. Andre Iguodala started one game in the regular season, and then all of a sudden in the NBA Finals, you make a move to bring him in the starting lineup. Like moves happen.
No. So
Now,
I just want to address this. You don't get rid of Shake.
Can't get rid of Shake. He's way
Like you need to add to Shake is my point. You don't get better trading Shake and replacing him with like Lonzo or George Hill or Norman Powell. You get better by adding Norman Powell or Lonzo or George Hill to Shake Milton running and them two coming off the bench together. That's how you get better. So I just wanted to touch on that. Is this Mark? Did he change his YouTube name?
I would assume so. I assume he's Mark in Philly.
Because he's coming at Dwight, so it has to be Mark Henry.
It's the same stat. Oh my God.
Mark, Dwight is better than Tony Bradley. I don't know what to tell you.
I think Tony Bradley's the answer.
All right, again, let's look at some of these names, and you guys can comment along with us and give us your order here. And we're gonna stick with guards coming off. So I'll give you Kyle Lowry, who we've talked about for weeks now. Lonzo Ball.
Weeks, years.
Yeah. Lonzo Ball. George Hill. Obviously, George Hill would be lowest, but like, how would you feel if they acquired George Hill now?
That's a really good comment.
That is awesome. That's my point, though. You're not going to get better by replacing Shake with a different guard. You need to add another guard to Shake in this bench unit. But give me your order, and then you know, I don't know how available they are to the Sixers, but Brogdon and Oladipo's names have been out there.
I mean, obviously, I would love Brogdon. I don't know. Lowry would be one, obviously. Lowry's top for me. I'd probably say Brogdon and then Lonzo, but I don't think Brogdon's at all in terms of an option at this point. I mean, every guy you just named. Sorry about that.
Get it together over there,
dude. It was a text in like a chat where like we talk about all this NBA stuff, and I thought something just happened. But yeah, I mean, any of those guards you just named are something I would love to add to our second unit. Now the question is just what the price is for them. Are they buyout players? Are they something that we could possibly just move Terrence Ferguson, some and a second round pick for them? So I mean, obviously you'd love to have all those guys, but I'm not giving up too many assets for George Hill. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I think George Hill would be traded. Mark says Lowry, Oladipo, Ross, Hill is my order. Mark Henry says in on Brogdon, out on Vic. I don't think Vic's that much of an option either.
Yeah.
They're just names thrown out there. Let me simplify it to you. Lonzo, Lowry. But you have to, like, what I mean by that is not just who you'd rather have. It's, okay, case A, Kyle Lowry, you're going to have to give up Danny Green and whatever else. Case B, you keep Danny Green most likely because you don't need him to fill that salary cap, and you add Lonzo Ball. What's your preference there?
I don't know what the market is for Lonzo. Like obviously you don't, like you said, you don't have to fill that salary void with Lonzo as you do Lowry. So
Right.
Danny Green probably might not have to go.
All right, how about this? Mike Scott to match the salary, or like Mike Scott and Ferguson. That doesn't matter to me. Mike Scott, player B, Tyrese Maxey, first round pick for Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, I would probably take that. Lonzo's 6'6", can defend, but I mean that doesn't mean I wouldn't take both. Obviously, I've been
Right.
saying it times, but I like Lonzo a lot. I have liked Lonzo. I actually have big baller gear. But, I like Lonzo a lot. And it's for the reasons we talked about all season. He's 6'6", he can defend bigger guys. You can throw him. I mean, you're not going to stop James Harden with him. You're not going to stop Kyrie Irving with him, but it's a better chance.
It's a body to throw out there.
But he's not as good in terms of on the ball, playing out of the pick and roll as Kyle Lowry is, which is what offensively you kind of want staying next to Ben. But Lonzo shot the ball really well this season.
Incredible, bro. He's ahead of like Trae Young. He's ahead of a lot of dudes shooting from three. Paul George, I'm pretty sure. And he's shooting like 8 per game.
Yeah, I mean.
So he's shooting a high clip and he's shooting it at a high percentage.
But then it just comes into what they want. But it really sounds like he's not going to be on the Pelicans after this little deadline. Apparently, they're all out on him. I think the Clippers are going to get him.
So do I.
So, which sucks. Abe, how are we?
What's going on, Abe? It's been a while.
Well, Abe's coming. I had to say what's up.
Yeah. We got a lot of trade talk going on right now. We're discussing Lonzo Ball, Kyle Lowry, all stuff like that. My thing with Lonzo, like you said, the 3-point percentage going up and shooting 8 a game is exactly something that this team needs because he can play off the ball as well. But he's a secondary ball handler, so he can be a combo guard next to Shake. He's 6'6", he's long, he's athletic, he has a high basketball IQ. He's obviously not on Ben's level, but he's a great facilitator also. So he could run that second unit and be a good facilitator. I'm at the point, dude, where like I watched that bench unit last night, and I'm like, I will be excited over anything. That's where I swear to God, like if it's George Hill, I will be really happy. Yeah. That's the point I'm at.
Yeah, and like a couple weeks ago, I wasn't huge on George Hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, Abe, this kind of, and again, when you look at the future money, like if that's the truth with Lowry wanting 2 years, 50 mil, like, and Lonzo getting 20 mil a year, I'm taking like not just what it would take to get Lonzo now against Lowry, but also, you know, in the future, he might be a restricted free agent also.
Who?
Lonzo. Yeah, Laurie Markkinen for Mike Scott, Tyrese Maxey, and a draft pick. Markkinen's another guy I would absolutely love.
Yeah, I like.
I would absolutely. That stretch big. That's one the whole. It's one of those two, dude. It's a guy that can get his own and can stretch the floor and shoot. That secondary ball handler, combo guard, and it's a stretch big. I think those are the two things, and I will be ecstatic.
Mark, we get it, dude. You don't want Lowry. Holy shit, dude! Oh my God, bro.
No, I still want Kyle Lowry, but if I had to choose between what it would take to get both,
I can agree with that. But that could, at this point, you like have to assume Lonzo's value is only going to go up till tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not saying that means we're going to have to throw all this stuff in to get him. And
yeah.
If I was waiting for this comment, actually, I don't care about LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
It's the fact that Lonzo gets here. Lonzo's a very good talent. Now, I will say this. I'm all in on Jello Ball.
Get off the show. Get off. You're gone after that comment. All credibility you had is gone.
Someone replied to one of my tweets today when I was talking about. I tweeted, "I want Lowry." Someone commented, said, "No, let's get Lonzo and Jello." I was like, dude, what are we talking about here?
So let me just, to my point of, I'll be happy with anything. At this point, let's just say it's Lonzo or George Hill. Just throw those two names out there because with Lowry, you'd have to give up Danny Green, but I still want Kyle. I'll do that trade. But let's say it's the other two. Let's say your rotation is now the starting 5 when healthy. Seth, Danny, Ben, Toby, Joel. That's 5. Matisse, Shake, player X, Lonzo/George.
I didn't even think of that.
What?
So if we move for Lonzo, he won't start.
No. Probably not.
I literally didn't even think that. I would like the whole time I was thinking he'd be in the starting lineup. I assume he would. They wouldn't break up starting 5. I don't think if we made.
No.
Yeah. No. Wow. That improves your second unit entirely.
Yeah.
Like almost like a whole letter grade if there was a letter grade for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then to your point, now that's where Dwight doesn't become unplayable in a series. If you have Lonzo, Shake, Matisse, Dwight, and the 5th player is either Toby, Seth, Danny, well, you know, he can stagger those. I want to keep Ben out there, but you know what I mean? Yeah, you can stagger, you know, the other 3. That's where Dwight can still impact the game a little bit in a limited run. And to your point, like, even more so Ben, because we think of Joel's body type and his size and all, but both of them, I'm assuming, are playing 37 plus minutes a night, dude.
Yeah.
That's with this bench. That's just what it comes down to. So you're talking maybe Dwight Howard for 5-6 minutes and not all at the same time.
What I'm interested in is now I just thought of it again because I didn't even process the fact we wouldn't have to give up a starter to get him. You have
Right.
that unit we just named where it's Shake and Lonzo would play. They'd be your backup guards. You'd need a big to fill the spot of Joel, whether it's a Sharks big, whether it's Dwight, somebody.
Just say it's Dwight's though.
So now you're at the 9th guy, and it's like, is it Furkan or Matisse? Unless you're playing 10 in the playoffs.
Right. That's the thing. And I'm telling you now, Matisse is playing a lot in the playoffs because of his defense.
You have to, yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I think Doc's going to play.
Pull that bottom coming up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I want JJ back.
Right now, is he better than Furkan right now?
Come on.
He's having like a really bad year, like a really, really bad year.
All right, and what have you told me about guys that have had bad years at their current teams when they don't want to be there?
I agree. Actually, he's not having as. Oh no, he is having a really bad year. I don't know if I want to go back in the rodeo of JJ in the playoffs. We want to start.
But he's not a starter. He's limited minutes. Come give us a few threes off the bench.
But it sounds, no, that's all another thing. It sounds like JJ. It's someone tweeted that JJ to Brooklyn's like a done deal.
Yeah.
But then the Tobias podcast was. Did you see the podcast today?
JJ's podcast, yeah.
That was so weird, dude.
Why?
And he wouldn't come on until we were teammates again, and here we are.
Yeah.
I was like, what does that mean?
Oh, are they teammates? I don't know, dude. My head is like.
I just want something to happen, bro.
That's my point. Something needs
excitement in my head. It's not like to get better. I mean, obviously, I want to get better, but I mean like a curveball. We're watching the same guys every night.
Yeah, I know.
We just get somebody new.
That is always fun too. Like, remember when we first got Alec Burks last year?
Yeah, dude. Well,
wouldn't Alec Burks be nice to still have?
I would love to have him back.
Maybe if Brett didn't ruin him. Trey Barrick's a nice name that I wouldn't mind having. I'll come off the bench either.
Yeah, not TJ McConnell either.
No. Oh, yeah, but we let go of Alec Burks to keep Raul Neto, right?
No, that was Trey Burke.
Trey Burke, I'm sorry. Burke, same thing.
Yeah. And
I looked Alec Burks' contract with the Knicks is not anything crazy that the Sixers team couldn't have afforded.
He's smooth, man.
Yeah. Did you see what he did to us?
Yeah.
I'm sure it wouldn't hurt to have him. No. Let's see. Oh, is this true? They recorded that a while ago too.
I didn't know that until I just saw that.
Oh.
I wonder how long though, because I didn't listen to
my whole point about this is, and I'm not trying to be, negative over here because that's just not who I am with this team. But when I watch that bench unit go out there, unless you're right and Doc's going to, just pull a Yui on me come playoff time, if he's dealt the same cards and has to like rotate 8 and not have the hockey shift going, then, I'll be a little less agitated by this bench unit. But if I'm going into this mindset of, okay, this is the bench and they're going to be playing together on the floor in the postseason, they will get murdered against Brooklyn, against Milwaukee, against Boston. I want everyone to realize that.
Not about murdered, but they would lose. They would lose in terms of the second unit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Talking about the second unit.
I just went on a tangent. I wanted to see how many players that Clippers team played last year against the Nuggets. This one was a blowout, so that's a different story. I'm curious because that Clippers team last year was really deep. Like they had a lot of good guys that could play.
Oh, and you're looking to see how many Doc ran in the postseason?
Yeah, I'm really curious because, like I said,
you can't find it.
I got it right here. He ran 10. Well, he ran like 9. But
that's my point, dude. He's stuck by that. Like, he answered a question earlier in the season on, like, someone asked him about the rotation. He said, if guys can play, like, they'll be in my rotation. Like, I don't put a cap on rotations. That's my issue. Yeah. I can't have Mike Scott on the floor in the postseason.
I don't think Mike Scott's going to get postseason time. I don't.
Mike Scott played last night like he knew it was his last game in a Sixers uniform.
Like 12 minutes, and he just.
I told you before, I've never seen a dude so down bad and so not hesitant. He chucks it, bro. I know he only took 3. It's not like he took like 7 shots in 12 minutes, but if he's open, it's going up.
He looks confident.
He can't play a lick of defense. He does nothing. He didn't have a rebound in 12 minutes, Gint.
DeLon Wright and Ellington, I'd love to do that deal. DeLon Wright and Wayne Ellington for 2 seconds rounds.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ferguson, Vincent Poirier. I don't know if Detroit's on board for that one, but I love DeLon Wright.
Like, you guys want to know where my mind's at right now? It's at the point where it's like, okay, I think something – what?
Mike Scott shoots with his eyes closed. That's good. Sorry.
Oh, shit. The comments are good today.
Yeah.
My mind's here. I think something happens. And in the back of my mind, it's like it's something small that, like, makes me, happy for a moment, but I don't know if it pushes the needle enough for this bench unit. But I also have in the back of my mind, Daryl Morey's on the phone now, not Sixers brass of the past. And he wants to he wants to win a championship. And he has to see, like, dude, this isn't like the Sixers have played really well this year and we're in 3rd place in the East. You know what I mean? And he's like, we're not, like, we've been in 1st place for months. We're 18 games over 500 without the MVP right now. He sees that window. There's no way in my mind that I can just sit here and think that he is just going to get beaten out and take a back seat to Clippers for Lonzo, to Miami for Lowry, to this team for, like, I just can't see him just sitting back and accepting buyout players because other teams got, outbid him. I can't see it. Now, I'm not saying he's going to trade the farm for 1-year rentals or whatever, but I do think he does something.
Yeah.
And they've been linked to too many players, dude. Every point guard out there, it's Philadelphia and blank. Philadelphia and blank.
Miami's linked to every player that's ever been in a trade rumor, a buyout, Miami.
Because that was Woj tweeted out the Lowry thing with the Sixers and the Heat. And then remember yesterday he commented below and saying other guards the Sixers have shown Lonzo Ball. That's when the Lonzo thing started to pick up more steam. Nadir says, do you think Shake is a good point guard? I think Shake is what he is. He's Shake. I think, he's a good. I also don't think he's a point guard. Yeah, I think he's better off the ball. AKA bring in George Hill, Lonzo Ball, someone else that can run that second unit alongside Shake, where he's not your facilitator and everything. That's another thing that I think would not only improve the bench, but it would improve Shake's play again, is the fact that, like, do you think, like, some of Shake's issues is that he's not a point guard? He's being made to be the backup point guard, and because they have no one else. And instead of just focusing on his game as a scorer and producing, he's also got to facilitate and run the offense, and that's just not him. Like, do you think that plays into what his struggles?
Yeah, I think, like you said, he's being forced into the role because there's no one else there. I mean, Maxi's there, but I don't.
But they're not ready.
He's not ready to play. So you're right. I really do think he's being forced, which is why coming into the season, I thought they were going to bring Curry off the bench because of that. I didn't think they wanted Shake to have to handle the ball so much. I'm kind of glad Steph doesn't have to handle the ball that much. We both said it. We both think Shake would be better off the ball. And to answer that question about George Hill, I didn't realize that George Hill hasn't played a basketball game since January 24th.
He hasn't?
He hasn't played since January 24th.
Well, we knew he had that thumb injury on his shooting hand.
Dude, that's a long time. That's 3 months.
Yeah, that's not good.
He better be running.
Yeah. So there you go. Morey is working. I think he is involving other teams, so a bigger deal than just a 1-1. They force Shake to do too much. That and I've gone on Shake and I've literally tweeted out last week, like, is everyone ready? The thing that I don't get about Shake is how everyone just kind of, if someone else is underperforming, they get ripped on this team. But if Shake is, it's he'll be okay. I don't like that aspect. But in my mind, it's like, me and you have talked a lot. He's better off the ball. I don't think he's a true point guard. And he kind of has to be in this role. And instead of just him in a scenario where he could just play off the ball, play freely, score, because he can just be a bucket getter, right? Now he's forced to do that because he's your only source of offense and scoring on that second unit. But he also has to run the offense, facilitate, try to get others involved. And that's just not his game, I don't think. So if you could bring in the ball handler to run the offense, facilitate, knock down an occasional shot, but now Shake's your bucket getter also, now your second unit has a little more spark to it.
Yeah.
I don't think this, because I don't think Doc wanted to hear him. Didn't Doc say something like when he signed with the Knicks? Remember, he was rumored to come here.
He did say something about that. About like, I don't know if it was Austin said it or Doc said it about
one of them said like they didn't. Yeah,
because the first time he went to the Clippers, it was the Clippers. He was on the Pelicans, I believe, and they were like really bad. And he got bought out, and he immediately went to his dad when they were in City, and everyone looked at it. I think it was like a bad look, even though who cares? He's good. I mean, if Austin Rivers got bought out, dad or not, I'd be down. Yeah, dude, I'm ready for a move, man. I just put out.
I don't know, man. So again, I guess I'll plug this before we continue with our talk here. While I have everyone here. Tomorrow night the Daily Dose will be at 7:30 instead of 4. And we will be having Tyrone Johnson from 97.5 The Fanatic and Sixers Outsiders on NBC Sports Philly joining us tomorrow at 7:30. Scotty was from Mondays with Scotty will also be joining us for that conversation. So tune into that wherever you're watching now tomorrow at 7:30 through the Painted Lines Network. And we will be talking. Obviously, the deadline will be over. Now, there's still the buyout market, as Ginn has alluded to, but you got to figure if not the Sixers, other Eastern Conference powerhouses have made moves. So there's going to be moves to talk about where the Sixers, kind of play it out from here. And we'll have a lot of Sixers chat with Tyrone tomorrow. So tune in for that. Comment, ask them questions, be respectful, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. Ginn, do we want to stay where we are, or do we want to finally get to some tournament talk?
We can talk about the tournament because we're probably not going to talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it tomorrow, and then then we're into the Sweet 16. So let's just get into recapping the first round a little bit with you.
Every team I thought was good isn't. That's what I
found. Yeah, I mean, it won't be at the time of the deadline. It'll be tomorrow at 7:30. Tyrone will be joining us to talk Sixers and trade deadline special. So come back for that. But my bracket busted.
Yeah, it's not even
like within 2 hours. Oral Roberts takes down a Final Four team for myself. Sister Jean with her magical powers somehow knocks out one of my finals teams. What?
I said it, Cameron Crutwig, during the reaction show. That kid, man,
that kid. That kid is something to look at. Let me tell you.
He doesn't look like a hooper, huh?
No, not at all. But just I want to look at these first games and just talk. I had a rough betting weekend as well. It started very good, and then I won my first 3 or 4 bets or so, and then decided to put everything on Texas -6.5. And here comes Abilene Christian turning them over 23 plus times. and upsetting the number 3 seed Texas. So that kind of put a damper on that. Villanova caught some luck a little bit. Not luck, not saying they couldn't have beaten Purdue. I mean by how they got to play North Texas in the second round. So they take care of Winthrop. You know, it wasn't a pretty game to start, but they end up taking care of business. They didn't shoot great against Winthrop. They come out blazing. I think they only made 8 threes the first game against Winthrop. They turn around on Sunday and drop like 9 threes in the first half against North Texas, blowing out North Texas by like 20 the majority of the game. So they get to take on Baylor in the Sweet 16. We'll talk about that a little bit. So again, I have some questions, I guess, for you. Let me pull them up here. It's just fun questions looking over the first weekend. Sorry, folks. Here they are. Okay, so what upsets, and you guys can comment along with us if you are NCAA fans, if you're following the tournament, if your bracket's busted, still intact, let us know. Let us know who you have winning it all, any upsets you have in the Sweet 16, whatever. But Gint, what upsets surprised you the most? Obviously, we could talk about Oral Roberts beating Ohio State and then turning around and beating Florida. That's going to be up there. But outside of that, looking at this bracket, what has surprised you the most the first weekend?
I thought Loyola Chicago was good. I didn't think they were going to beat Illinois. I thought Illinois was like bound to make a run. Now, I'm not saying be national champs, but like Elite 8, Final Four team, absolutely. So that was definitely really surprising. Texas, to me, also. Like it was Abilene Christian, right? Like that was – like you have Shaka Smart. You play a havoc defense. You play teams. You pressure. Your practice literally probably consists of pressure at all times. And you turn the ball over 23 times. That was also really surprising to me. And then obviously, I mean, during the reaction show, we talked about Purdue. We all liked Purdue.
Yeah.
So that one was a blessing in disguise, like you said, for the Villanova fans. But I didn't think that was going to happen. Which, I mean, I don't think you ever really think upsets are going to happen. The only one I really thought was going to happen was Santa Barbara. And they ended up losing by 1.
Yeah. I actually bet on Ohio, and then I was nervous because a lot of people were going with Ohio over Virginia, but they still pulled it off. Looking here, you know, UCLA playing in the first 4 against Michigan State. Well. They come back, and then they get, you know, kind of a blessing in disguise. They get to play Abilene Christian instead of Texas. So now a play-in team is, and you could question if they should have been a play-in team or not, but they advance to the Sweet 16. I'm looking there. Creighton, they're 5 seed like they should be where they're supposed to be seeding wise. I just wasn't buying in. So now they get to take their shot at Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. How about Oregon dropping like 95 on Iowa's head?
Well, they didn't have to play Saturday night.
Sure, I get that.
What I don't understand is this: we talked about those teams that were like. Weren't those teams like
but dude, that's because that came out like 2 hours before the game. Yeah.
I wonder like if Louisville was there, if they were like, yo, you want to like have a shot?
Yeah, I guess. But
assuming they would have said yes, but like
if it would have happened like the night before or something like that, I could see the fill-in team coming in. But it happened literally like that a couple hours before. And then it's not like they can turn around and say, "Oh, well, another team can come in tomorrow to play to play Oregon," because then that messes up the bracket and the dates and all that stuff. So that was one. I'm looking here. Okay, I want to talk about Oklahoma State for a second, because now Oregon State. So instead of the matchup we all wanted to see in Illinois and Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State, we're getting Loyola Chicago and Oregon State. And I want to talk about the game because I don't know how many of you guys watched it. Again, I don't know if you were watching it, but that Oklahoma State, Oregon State game. Oregon State's kind of handling them a majority of the game. Cade keeps his team in it, makes a couple plays, he keeps pulling them back. They cut it to 2. Then they let Oregon State go on another run and get it back out to 10 or 12. They cut it to 6 with about 3 or 4 minutes left or so. Cade makes a ridiculous steal, like running out of bounds, launches the ball back in behind his back to a teammate, runs back into play, gets a pass, pulls up from 3, knocks it down. 3-point game with around 4 minutes, let's just say. It's around that area. He doesn't get another look in that offense until a minute or so left in the game. What are they doing?
Yeah, you have the best player in college basketball, essentially.
Yes.
If I was Cade Cunningham, like, I would have shot the ball every single time down the court at that point.
No, dude, he didn't touch it.
I know, I understand.
Touch.
I understand, which is one. I'm assuming that's a coaching thing. I'm assuming the coach didn't say, "Yo, don't give Cade the ball," but he should have been like,
"Give Cade the ball."
He's the only one that shoots the rest of the game. End of story. Yeah. But I mean, dude, when Illinois lost, I was like, "Oh my God, Oklahoma State's going to the Final Four. They might go to the national championship game." But like, how to Oregon State, dude? I mean, if you want to talk about a surprise, that's another surprise. Obviously,
yeah. And then even you drop below there, you got Q's just making another tournament run.
Dude, well, Buddy Boeheim is coming like my favorite player in the country besides the Villanova guys.
But. And then you have, the team that's supposed to be there seeding wise in Houston, but it shouldn't have been. But Rutgers with like maybe the meltdown of the tournament, dude. Is that like wrong to say? Like, was that the meltdown of the tournament so far in the final 2 or 3 minutes?
Or Texas Tech missing the front end of a 1-on-1 and 2 layups to win the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Those games happened back to back in like the matter of an hour and a half.
Houston finished that Rutgers game on a 14-2 run, dude.
Yeah, man, dude.
Like Rutgers was up like 10 or so with a few minutes to go. Like they were handling Houston.
I was high,
and then they folded
so bad. Geo Baker committed one of the worst fouls. I think.
And I need to read this. And you know what? This is a question I'm going to throw to Tyrone tomorrow, maybe just to start things up. Because do you follow Tyrone on Twitter?
Yeah. Have
you seen his like takes on upsets in the tournament? Like he doesn't like it. It's hilarious.
I don't know if he doesn't like the fact that there's upsets. I don't. He said something about he doesn't like why people are obsessed with upsets.
Yeah, because he wants to see the best teams play, like I guess like that kind of.
I mean, I do. I don't agree, but you do want it. I wanted to see Illinois play Gonzaga in the national championship. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that would have been the 2 best teams in the country.
But I need to read this to you, and I'm going to watch all 4 games on Saturday. I'm probably going to bet on most of them. But the tournament's fun, and part of the reason I like it is for the upsets in the early round, and as do a lot of people. But look at these slate of games on Saturday, dude. Outside of Villanova Baylor, the 1 versus 5 at 5:15, right? And obviously, being Villanova fans, we don't care who Villanova was playing. That's what we want to see. Do you know what the other 3 games are on Saturday? Like Sunday's games get better, but the right half of the bracket, Oregon State versus Loyola Chicago is the opener. Nova Baylor, Oral Roberts versus Arkansas, and Syracuse versus Houston.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I've never been less interested in.
Outside of Nova, I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to watch.
It's at the point now where they got into the Sweet 16. How I just want to see Oral Roberts, beat Arkansas now, and then maybe if Nova can upset Baylor, then they get Oral Roberts in the Elite 8.
I didn't know it was that bad, if I'm being honest with you.
I mean, again, regardless of how you look at it, if Nova can get by Baylor on Saturday. Do you realize what their road to the national championship is?
Yeah,
it is Arkansas or Oral Roberts, and then one of the 4: Loyola, Oregon State, Syracuse, and Houston.
Dude, and
their road opened up if they pull out an upset on Saturday.
We talked about this when we were talking about when the bracket came out, and apparently we couldn't beat Winthrop to start the bracket, but. They're playing with a different type of confidence right now. They are. He got them ready. Jay, that is Jay, right? Justin Moore looks so confident in the ball, playing at the point guard spot.
Cole Swider has a rocket launcher.
Well, yeah, flamethrower for a right arm. And then, dude, it's Brian Antoine and Chris Archiak now, obviously. Chris played awesome last game. He's just doing things that they needed, which is don't turn the ball over and knock a couple shots down. But, dude, Brian Antoine was a top 15 recruit in the country 2 years ago. McDonald's All-American. Was supposed to be a number 1 guy, hurt his shoulder twice, but he's come in, has been knocking down shots, playing defense. They look really good right now. But now
let me ask you this question.
You get the Giants now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm getting ahead of myself here, obviously. But this goes back to something you alluded to before, which I kind of took for granted. I just kind of was like, he's just hoping, right? Because when Gillespie went down and you were like, well, dude, now Jay gets practice time and they haven't had that. I'm like, you're reaching for straws here. But it's kind of happening. Let me ask you this. And I think the answer is kind of clear, but still. We know what the 2016 team was, right? But they still had to go through Kansas and Buddy Hield, and then they had to go through the Giants at UNC, right? Yeah. 2018 was one of the greatest college basketball teams I've ever seen.
I think it's the second best we've seen since
they blew out Michigan. Would this, if he can do it, and I know we're not even to the Sweet 16 game yet, if they could pull this one out, would this be the greatest national championship run, A, that Jay Wright's ever had, and B, possibly like a lot of teams ever have had in a tournament?
That's a great question. Because it's weird, because the 2016 team at the time, they were saying they don't have any NBA guys on the roster,
right?
Which turned out to be like drastically wrong. Like Ryan's in the NBA, Josh Hart's a really good NBA player,
Jalen Brunson's
a really good NBA player, Jalen Brunson's a good NBA player. So like that did not turn out right. But at the time, that's what it looked like. Like people were calling him like
Shefu was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still in the G League. So like they had pros, you know what I mean? And then, but then you go to the 2018 and like talk about dominance. Like they had an average margin of victory by like 18 points per game, which was like the second most in tournament history to the 2016 team, which was like 15 points per game. But that's because that Oklahoma game like flawed it because they won by like 44 points. But this one would be really impressive because of what happened so late in the season. Like you lost your everything, your point guard, your captain, your second leading scorer on the roster, most assists a game. And you lost them, like you said, on senior night. Justin, that's a terrible. Wait, is that a bucket or a trash can?
I don't know. I think he's messing with you.
Oh, dude, he had 15 rebounds last night. So, but yeah, I mean, dude, what happened so late? And if you're able to, obviously the first two rounds you didn't really get. You got 2 double-digit seeds, but now you'd have to beat a 1 seed. A team that everyone since the beginning of the season has thought is going to go to the Final Four. John Rossi always tweets Gonzaga, Baylor, and 2 empty lines for who's going to be in the Final Four. So, I mean, you'd have to take down an absolute giant slayer in this next game. But in terms of talent, like, how many NBA players are on this team? You know what I mean?
Right.
Jeremiah Robinson is going to be an NBA player. But after that, who knows? There might not be another one.
I said this to you before, dude, like off air. I've never seen a team, and it's consistently throughout the years, but like I watch like Justin Moore in the low post, and then I'll watch Caleb Daniels or Samuel or Jermaine Samuels outside, and I'm like, every dude on Villanova can shoot, and every dude on Villanova has a low post game. Justin Moore has a low post game. That is insane to me. Now, obviously, it wouldn't translate to the NBA, but for what it is right now, he has a low post game.
Yeah, well, you'd think that it wouldn't, honestly, but dude, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, that's very true.
Nonstop. Like Javon Carter played for the Phoenix Suns, and when they played West Virginia in the Sweet 16 in 2018, dude, he played out of the post like it felt like he was there the whole game. You know what I mean? But they're just so keen on footwork and everything. So, I mean, obviously Villanova has the test of the year essentially this week. So, but I mean, they're buzzing right now. They're shooting the ball really well. So, we'll see, man.
Yeah,
we're excited for this weekend, and we're excited for tomorrow too. Obviously.
Yeah, really excited for tomorrow. Not just for the show and our guests, but for the Sixers to hopefully get better and, say, hey, we're trying to win a championship in 2021. So for myself, you can follow me on Twitter at DylanJD98. For Gint, you can follow him on Twitter at Matt_McGinty. Don't forget 250 100% deposit match up to $250 with our sponsor at XL Media and BetRivers. So go check that out. The link is in the description on YouTube, or you can go check it out on thepainted.lines.com. Go subscribe to the Painted Lines YouTube channel, Twitter, Twitch, where we're streaming to you from. And again, one more time, Tyrone Johnson, 97.5 The Fanatic, Sixers Outsiders on NBC Sports Philadelphia, will be joining us tomorrow right here, wherever you're watching, at 7:30 p.m. talking Sixers and hopefully some moves made by Daryl Morey. Have a nice night, everyone.